It is week one of the college football season. We are talking all about Saturday slate. We got 5 picks inbound. It's Austin joined by Logan. Before we dive into our favorite picks, we want to say something. If you are curious about our Friday selection, since we are posting this on Friday, there are a bunch of college football games on Friday. We posted a video on Wednesday with 2 picks for the slate of games. Today we're talking all about Saturdays, though. We'll link that Friday video down below in the pinned comment and also at the end of this one if you want to check it out. But we got so many teams in action on Saturday, Logan. If we somehow go 5-0 in this video, we're giving away $100. All you got to do is subscribe and comment down below. Maybe comment your favorite play, your favorite team. Do whatever you want in the comment section. If we somehow go 5-0 in this video, we're giving away $100 to one of you guys down below. But Logan, you got 3 picks. I'll let you lead things off. What's the first one you're going with today?
Yeah, I'm first pick. Let's have a big weekend. I'm taking Purdue -3.5 spread, -110 odds on BetMGM. Currently, your best value there. Yes, I'm comfortable backing this smallish spread with the Boilermakers in their season opener. Starting at quarterback for Purdue is supposed to be Hudson Card. He's a junior. He's a big signing from the transfer portal. 1,500 yards, 11 touchdowns over the last 2 seasons. I think Hudson Card's going to add a pretty decent dimension to this Purdue offense. Purdue should be able to control the ground game as well with a combination of Devin Mockabee, he's a sophomore, and Dylan Downing. They combined for over 1,300 yards with 13 touchdowns last year. It's a Purdue offense that does rely on the ground and pound ball control type offense, but I really do think that's going to be the key for success today. Look at Fresno State. Last year, Fresno State gave up their fair share of yards, 67th in rushing yards allowed. So this wasn't a team that was amazing at stopping the run. And we look at Fresno State's offense. How are they going to keep up in this game? How are they going to potentially cover the spread on their side? I'm not all that confident that their offense is going to be able to do that. They lost several key guys. Obviously, quarterback Jake Haener, running back Jordan Mims, and the top 3 receivers and tight end are all gone for Fresno State's offense. So this Fresno State team has a lot of turnover this year. And who's supposed to be the starting quarterback for him? Well, Austin, you might know this guy, Mikey Keene from the University of Central Florida. He's supposed to be the starter for this Fresno State team. His first start will be on the road in Purdue, which is not an easy place to play by any stretch. Last year, he saw time in 4 games. We know UCF kind of rotated that 2-quarterback system. 647 yards, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception. Yeah, eyeball test. I wasn't a big Mikey Keene fan. I'm sure if you ask UCF fans, they probably weren't big Mikey Keene fans as well. But you also look at Fresno State. There's a whole new wide receiver room for Fresno State. Leading receiver Eric Brooks is actually like one of the few returning receivers that Mikey Keene's going to have to throw, and he only had 37 receptions last year. So again, not a whole lot of continuity at all on that offense, and I just think it's going to be hard for Fresno State to really move the ball up and down the field, and I don't really see them, even if the spread is small, I don't see them covering this one. I think Purdue will pull away late and cover that -3.5, so I'm going to go ahead and take the Boilermakers as my first pick. But Austin, what do you got for us today?
Yeah, Logan, you're right. I'm not a big fan of Mikey Keene, so I absolutely love the first play. Mikey Keene can't throw more than 5 yards. We'll see how he does. Hopefully he tosses a couple interceptions for you. But for my first pick, I'm going to a money line pick, and it's going to be a team on the road. It's going to be the University of Texas of San Antonio, the Roadrunners, taking them on the money line as they're in Houston, taking on the Cougars, about -120. This is a virtual pick 'em, so basically if you want to take the spread, you can. I rather just take the money line in case there's some weird game where we see the Roadrunners win by 1. Now, they're out for revenge, the Roadrunners, that is, because they're coming off a brutal loss last year in opening week. I believe they were at home that time, and it was to the Houston Cougars. They lost that one. They had a 14-point lead in the 4th quarter, choked that, ended up losing in triple overtime. And I imagine their team, which has a lot of returning starters, a lot of returning production, will remember that loss, and they're going to come in here with some revenge, trying to go up after this Houston Cougars team. And honestly, it's very rare you see an AAC team being favored on the road against the now Big 12 Houston team. And I think they're saying they're giving some respect to the Roadrunners. Now, after losing that game in week 1 of last year, the Roadrunners went on to win 11 of the last 13, did lose their bowl game, but they're led by their star QB, Frank Harris, and he's going to return here today. I believe this is his 4th year as their starting quarterback, and he's been really, really good, especially over the past few years. He's coming off his best year yet, though. Completed 70% of his passes last year, over 4,000 yards, 32 touchdowns, only 9 interceptions, also chipped in 600 rushing yards. This is a guy that can do it both through the air and can make plays on the ground too and extend plays, which you love to see. And UTSA is going to return most of their same starters on the offensive line and their skill position players. Now, I am fully expecting UTSA to put up some points. Their defense will be the questionable side, but I think they'll have a better chance of stopping this Houston attack because Houston, just like Purdue and just like a bunch of other teams across the nation, have to reload, but they lost a lot of talent. They lost Clayton Tune, who's in the NFL now. He threw 70 touchdowns over the past 2 seasons. Tank Dell, he's a Houston Texan now. He not only led their team in receiving yards and touchdowns, led the nation in receiving yards and touchdowns. So both those two guys are going to be playing on Sundays, and now they have to turn to Donovan Smith, the Texas Tech transfer who got benched mid-season last year, coming off 12 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Now you look at his frame, he's 6'4", 6'5", 240, big frame. I just don't trust his arm talent here, and he's not, the best athlete in terms of, like if you're looking for a 6'4" guy, you're hopeful that he's like Cam Newton, can run through guys. It's not really his game. He didn't really average a lot of rushing yards with Texas Tech. I don't have a lot of faith in this Houston offense being able to continuously put up points just like UTSA will. I mean, this is a high over under in the 60s. They're expecting points here. If this is a high scoring game, I think it really favors the Roadrunners here. I think they get some revenge here on the road in Houston. I'm rolling with the Roadrunners. I think they can get it done on the road. Minus 120. I'll take my chances on their team, them to get it done, get the win, get some revenge from last year. Logan, what's your second pick going to be?
Roadrunners on the road. I can get behind that. I'm taking Coastal Carolina Chanticleers plus 14.5, minus 110 odds on BetMGM. Currently your best value there. Now I am taking Coastal Carolina on the road in this one. I like them to cover the plus 14.5. I think that number's just a little bit too high. And honestly, if we're talking value, which I love finding value in a college football slate, I think their money line's worth a sprinkle at this price, especially. I mean, you're getting near plus 500 odds on it. I think it's worth a sprinkle because last year, if you remember week 1 of last year, UCLA got an absolute scare from the South Alabama Jags. They barely won that game. UCLA won 32-31. They did not come out of the gate sharp, and they could come out flat once again this year. I will go ahead and take Coastal Carolina to give them a scare once again in this one. Look at Coastal Carolina. They return one of the most offensive quarterbacks we've seen in college football history, statistically speaking, and I really do like the eyeball test too for Grayson McCall. He's the senior, 70% career passer with just 8 interceptions and 78 touchdown passes. We know how good Grayson McCall is. Last year, he dealt with some injuries, but when he's healthy, this guy's one of the best passers in college football. We also look at Coastal. They return several key offensive players besides McCall. Wide receiver Sam Pickney is coming off a 71 grab season last year with over 1,000 yards. We will also look at the offensive line veteran group up front as well. Running backs, CJ Beasley, Reese White returning. So they've got some continuity on offense, and I do really think they're going to be able to move the ball up and down the field on UCLA. We look at last year, UCLA 90th in scoring defense, 117th in passing yards allowed. Yes, obviously UCLA did play in the Pac-12, which has several really good offenses out there, but they didn't provide much resistance to those offenses, and I honestly don't see why they're going to provide any resistance to Coastal Carolina. I think if Coastal Carolina comes out sharp in this one, they will give UCLA all they want. Now let's talk about UCLA's offense because I'm not too high on them. Their offense will look a lot different this year. They lost 5 skill position players, including Dorian Thompson or DTR and Charbonnet. So there's some missing pieces definitely on that offense for UCLA. Coastal's defense, they don't have to play perfect in this game. They just need to keep this game within 2 scores. And I think they're going to do just that for us. With the plus 14.5, they could easily backdoor this one. We've seen it a million times. Let's say they're down 17. They could come easily backdoor this one. Coastal Carolina has the offensive firepower to cover this plus 14.5. And I think it's a really solid bet to make. I love them in this underdog, nothing to lose spot, playing against big, mighty UCLA in the Rose Bowl. Yeah, give me the Chanticleers all day long. But Austin, what else you going with?
Yeah, I'm actually going to a big time favorite. One of the bigger spreads that you'll probably ever see me lay on these college football videos because I'm going to the Wisconsin Badgers, taking them minus 27.5. Currently minus 115 on BetMGM. Obviously, big difference between trying to get this at 27.5 and if it does go up to 28.5. That's a big move. Don't know if I love it as much at 28.5. Obviously, I'm hoping it's a no sweat win, but just very similar to Logan's Coastal Carolina pick. If that drops to 13.5, you don't feel as good because there's obviously more pathways where they lose by 14, or in this case, maybe the Badgers win, maybe not by 28 on the dot. But look, at the Badgers look to start off the Luke Fickell era, obviously the coach from Cincinnati that had a lot of success with the Bearcats, now became the Badgers head coach, coached their bowl game. They're looking to start this era off though with a great week 1 victory, and I think they're gonna get it done today on Saturday against the Buffalo Bulls. Now the Bulls, if you look at them last year, were notoriously a very run heavy team, and that was a team that averaged the 16th most rushing attempts per game in college football. On the other side, the Badgers defense, 5th best in the nation at rushing yards per attempt, allowing less than 3 yards per carry. So this was a front seven that stopped the run and made you throw the football. And also, they really were one of the best defenses in terms of passing yards as well. The reason the Badgers over the last 5-10 years have been a great defense. I can count on them to play defense. It comes down to their offense, which we'll talk about in a second. But if the Badgers can get up early and force Buffalo to become a passing team, Cole Snyder, make him throw the football, I'll take our chances with the Wisconsin D-line and be able to pin their ears back and just go and rush the quarterback, get them into some 2nd and longs, 3rd and longs, and even honestly, if given their rushing defense, might be able to get them into those 2nd and longs anyways, regardless. But like I said, this is going to come down to the Wisconsin defense. You rarely saw them favored by 27.5 because the Bucs did not have a lot of faith in their offense, and neither did I. But now I think they have a good chance with Luke Fickell at the helm calling some plays, and Tanner Mordecai, the transfer from SMU, coming over here. I mean, this is probably the best quarterback that Wisconsin has seen in some time, and he's coming off 2 great seasons. He threw over 3,500 yards and 33 or more touchdowns in the past 2 seasons. He led SMU, one of the higher scoring offenses in national football. But you look at him, I think he's going to come out here and play pretty well. And I think this Wisconsin offense is going to still run the football. They obviously have a great offensive line. You see that pedigree transferring into the NFL, but they always are going to be a run heavy team. But they also, I think, are going to use some of Mordecai and be able to throw the football more than they have in the past couple seasons. This is also Mordecai, you think about all spring, all summer, has been having to practice against one of the better defenses that projects to be in college football, and the Wisconsin defense should have a much easier task against a Buffalo defense that struggled last year, very mediocre defense. So I know it's laying a big number, but I really do think Wisconsin comes out here, starts the Luke Fickell era in front of a big crowd on Saturday. I think it's a big time show up performance for the Badgers. Give me them minus 27.5, a big number. Let's hope they make that a no sweat bet for us. But Logan, 5th and final play of the day. You're going to a Sunday game. What are you going with?
Yeah, we're going to a Sunday game, so if you're looking in the Saturday slate, you won't find this one, but I'm going to take a unique bet. It's a bet that I took last week as well, and it involves one of the same teams. I'm taking Oregon State under 4.5 team total touchdowns, minus 130 odds on DraftKings, currently your best value. Now, they do play San Jose State. I mentioned this was a special bet that I tried out, week 0, and it worked out for us. I took San Jose State team total over in touchdowns. We got plus 150 at that. Now, obviously, I would like this one to be a little bit better value. And I do want to mention, obviously, this is a DraftKings bet. I'm not really sure of any other book that offers it. DraftKings is a widely available book, but if you don't have DraftKings, a pivot for this one on the other books would just be taking Oregon State team total under. Whatever line it was, I saw it earlier at 35.5. So if you want to go ahead and take that, I don't mind that as a pivot if you can't take this team total touchdown specific bet. I just really like a team total touchdown specific bet because if they get field goals, that doesn't actually help them at all in relationship to this bet. So field goals are our friend in this one. And this is likely a run-first Oregon State offense. I'll take my chances fading them week 1 against San Jose State, this San Jose State team that already had a warm-up game against USC. Yes, they got absolutely drummed in that game, but they did. It turned into a shootout. So I have to, kind of put that caveat out there. Their defense didn't really get the stops, but they didn't really have to. I mean, they weren't expected to really be all that competitive in that game against Oregon State. I think they do put up a good fight. We look at who's going to be the projected starter for quarterback for Oregon State. It's supposed to be DJ Uyunglele. I probably butchered that. I'm going to call him DJ from now on. But he starts for the Beavers. If that name sounds familiar, yes, he's the transfer from Clemson. And if you ever bet Clemson with him at the helm, you're probably like, oh, Logan, this guy sucks. And yes, while I have to admit, at sometimes he didn't look all that polished, he was okay last year. Over 2,500 yards, 22 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. The year before that, he really didn't look all that great at all. 9 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. I just think this guy's not really all that consistent of a passer. Say what you want about him. He can use his legs all he wants. But as a passer, I've never really seen DJ able to read a defense, to drop back and show me that he's able to really read coverages. So I'll go ahead and say San Jose State, you can play a little bit of coverage, maybe stop the ground game first, because we look at Oregon State. This was a team last year that was 103rd in passing yards, 120th in passing attempts last year. They favor the ground and pound ball control style. So obviously, I will take my chances taking their team total under in touchdowns, because a ball control type offense might rely on more field goals. You're chewing clock, and with the new rules in college football where the clock doesn't stop on first downs, so you get that on your side. And I'd be surprised if really Oregon State lets DJ air it out. He's just not an air it out type quarterback. I don't see really the enemy of this bet would be quick strike, explosive plays. And I don't really see San Jose State allowing that. I think they'll be pretty solid up front and play some decent coverage against the Oregon State offense. San Jose State's defense, if you want to look at the positive and negative, all right, obvious negative, they got 56 hung up on them. As I'll add in there, that was to Caleb Williams, and probably one of the best, if not the best, offense in college football in USC. So that's like really tough week 0 game to come out. But they had a warm-up game. Obviously, that helps, because it helps the tackling. It helps you get these defensive players warmed up. And honestly, to cash this bet, they don't need to play perfect defense. Obviously, you need to play better than they did last week, but they just need to play good enough for some of those Oregon State offensive drives to end in a field goal or a punt. A kick either way, that's not an extra point, is a good thing for us today. I just think this is a really solid bet. I think we can easily pick up a nice little winner in this one. I think the books are way too high on Oregon State's offense coming out of the gate and just pushing around San Jose State. I don't really see it that way. So I'll go ahead and take their team total touchdown under as my third pick.
Yeah, Logan, let's have a great Saturday and Sunday with that pick. We will recap how all of our picks did, the ones on Thursday, because we're recording this Thursday night, the ones on Friday, then obviously Saturday and Sunday slate. We'll record that and recap that next week. As always, we appreciate you guys. A reminder, if we somehow go 5-0, which I'm feeling good, we're going 5-0. We'll give away $100 to someone that subscribes and comments down below. Let us know your favorite play down below of the weekend. We'll be back again next week with some more college football videos. You'll see us in our normal MLB Daily Best Bets videos. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.